Right, everyone, buckle up. Today we're diving headfirst into the complex, often messy, always fascinating web of global interdependence to answer a rather important question. Who relies on China, and I mean really relies on China, to keep their economies afloat? We're talking about countries for whom China isn't just a trading partner but a lifeline. Nations buying into the Chinese economic engine so wholeheartedly that unplugging could send them spiraling. And, spoiler alert, it's more than just a handful of countries. So, get ready to explore the top 10 nations so deeply intertwined with the Chinese economy that a future without them is difficult, if not impossible, to imagine. Let's get into it. First up, we've got Australia, a country that seems to have it all: stunning beaches, questionable wildlife, and enough iron ore to build a Great Wall of China, twice. But beneath this sun-drenched exterior lies a deeply embedded dependence on, you guessed it, China. China is Australia's biggest trading partner, hoovering up Australian iron ore, coal, and natural gas like a thirsty koala at a eucalyptus buffet. This economic love-in has been mutually beneficial, but it's made Australia a touch reliant on China's insatiable appetite for raw materials. So, while Australia enjoys the fruits of its Chinese partnership, there's a growing awareness that diversification, much like sunscreen down under, is probably a good idea. Next on our list is Brazil, a country known for its vibrant culture, stunning Amazon rainforest, and oh yes, its rather cozy relationship with China. China, with its insatiable appetite for, well, pretty much everything, is Brazil's biggest export market, slurping up Brazilian soybeans, iron ore, and oil like they're going out of style. This economic tango has undoubtedly boosted Brazil's economic growth, but it's also created a certain level of dependence. Imagine, if you will, a world where China decides it's had its fill of Brazilian soybeans, perhaps opting for a more homegrown tofu scramble instead. The economic ripples would be felt from the Amazon to the Atlantic, leaving Brazil with a surplus of soybeans and a serious case of the economic blues. So while Brazil basks in the glow of its Chinese partnership, there's a growing realization that diversifying its economic portfolio is probably a good idea. Now, let's talk about South Korea, a technological powerhouse that's managed to squeeze more innovation into a peninsula than seems strictly geographically possible. South Korea and China are like two sides of the same high-tech coin. China provides a massive market for South Korean exports, particularly in electronics and semiconductors, while South Korea relies on China for manufacturing and components. This intricate economic dance has made both countries incredibly prosperous. But it's also created a situation where what happens in Beijing has a direct impact on Seoul. The economic fallout would be significant, forcing South Korea to scramble for new markets, and potentially reevaluate its reliance on a single, albeit massive, trading partner. So, while South Korea enjoys the fruits of its Chinese partnership, there's a growing understanding that diversification, much like a good fire escape plan, is probably a wise investment. Let's turn our attention to Japan, a land of technological marvels, ancient traditions, and it turns out, a somewhat complicated relationship with its neighbor across the East China Sea. China is a vital market for Japanese exports, particularly in the automotive and technology sectors. On the other hand, Japan finds itself increasingly wary of China's growing economic and geopolitical clout. Imagine for a moment a scenario where China decides to prioritize its own domestic automotive industry, encouraging its citizens to trade in their Toyotas for, let's say, a shiny new BYD. This delicate balancing act between economic interdependence and strategic rivalry is a constant tightrope walk for Japan. So, while Japan benefits from its economic ties with China, it's also keenly aware of the need to diversify its economic relationships and hedge its bets. Next, we journey to Vietnam, a nation renowned for its breathtaking landscapes and delicious pho. Vietnam has become a key link in China's manufacturing supply chain. It imports raw materials, assembles them, and exports finished goods, often back to China. Imagine China shifting its focus inward, relying more on its own workforce. This creates unique challenges for Vietnam. Vietnam is diversifying its economy to reduce reliance on any one partner, because putting all your spring rolls in one bamboo steamer can lead to geopolitical heartburn. Now let's talk about Russia, A nation known for its vast expanse, its frosty winters, and its, shall we say, complicated relationship with the West. China, with its insatiable appetite for energy, has become a crucial market for Russian oil and natural gas. In return, Russia sees China as a source of investment technology, and perhaps most importantly, diplomatic support in a world increasingly wary of its actions. Imagine for a moment a scenario where Western sanctions bite even harder or China manages to wean itself off its dependence on Russian fossil fuels. This reliance on China, while mutually beneficial, isn't without its risks for Russia. So while Russia cultivates its strategic partnership with China, it's also aware that even the warmest embrace can sometimes feel a bit constricting, especially when it comes from a partner as powerful and ambitious as China. Let's turn our attention to India, a nation brimming with vibrant culture, ancient traditions, and a rapidly growing economy. China is a major supplier of goods to India, from electronics and machinery to raw materials. On the other hand, India views China's growing influence with a mix of caution and ambition, wary of being overshadowed by its larger neighbor. Imagine for a moment a world where tensions between India and China escalate, disrupting trade routes and souring economic relations. This delicate balancing act between economic pragmatism and geopolitical rivalry is a constant challenge for India. So, while India seeks to leverage its economic relationship with China to its advantage, it's also keenly aware of the need to diversify its partnerships and reduce its reliance on any one nation. Next, we head to Pakistan, a nation grappling with political complexities, economic challenges, and a strategically crucial location at the crossroads of South and Central Asia. This relationship, forged in the crucible of shared geopolitical interests, has blossomed into a deep economic partnership centered around the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC. China, eager to secure new trade routes and extend its influence, has poured money into Pakistan, building ports, roads, and energy infrastructure. Imagine for a moment a world where CPEC projects stall, or China decides to redirect its investments elsewhere. This reliance on China, while undoubtedly beneficial in the short term, raises important questions about Pakistan's long-term autonomy and economic sustainability. So, while Pakistan welcomes Chinese investment and support, it's also aware that even the closest alliances require a degree of caution, especially when one partner is as large and as ambitious as China. Now let's shift our focus to Germany, a nation renowned for its engineering prowess, its love of order, and its role as the economic engine of Europe. China represents a massive market for German exports, particularly in the automotive machinery and industrial equipment sectors. Imagine for a moment a world where China's economic engine sputters, or geopolitical tensions lead to trade disruptions. This reliance on China, while mutually beneficial for many years, has exposed a vulnerability in Germany's economic model. So, while Germany continues to benefit from its economic ties with China, there's a growing awareness of the need to diversify its trading partners and reduce its reliance on any one nation. Because, as we all know, even the most well-oiled machine can seize up if a single crucial part malfunctions, and relying too heavily on a single supplier, even one as efficient as China, can be a recipe for economic hiccups. Finally, we arrive in Indonesia, a sprawling archipelago known for its stunning natural beauty, its vibrant culture, and its abundance of natural resources. Indonesia is a crucial supplier of raw materials to China's industrial complex. But what if China's demand wanes or it diversifies away from Indonesia? This reliance on China raises questions about Indonesia's long-term economic sustainability. Indonesia must diversify its economy and reduce reliance on raw material exports. Even the most beautiful beach can be eroded by relentless waves. So, there you have it, a glimpse into the complex and often precarious world of nations whose economic fortunes are deeply intertwined with China. From Australia's iron ore to Indonesia's palm oil, these countries have benefited from China's rise, but they've also become increasingly vulnerable to its economic fluctuations and geopolitical ambitions. The future of global interdependence will require a delicate balancing act, leveraging the benefits of economic partnership while mitigating the risks of overdependence. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. See you next time.